Proverbs 26, the Passion Translation. Subheader: Don't be a fool. It is totally out of place to promote and honor a fool, just like it's out of place to have snow in the summer and rain at harvest time. An undeserved curse will be powerless to harm you. It may flutter over you like a bird, but it will find no place to land. Guide a horse with a whip, direct a donkey with a bridle, and lead a rebellious fool with a beating on his backside. Don't respond to the words of a fool with more foolish words, or you will become as foolish as he is. Instead, if you're asked a silly question, answer it with words of wisdom, so the fool doesn't think he's so clever. If you choose a fool to represent you, you're asking for trouble. It will be as bad for you as cutting off your own feet. You can never trust the words of a fool, just like a crippled man can't trust his legs to support him. Give honor to a fool and watch it backfire, like a stone tied to a slingshot. The statements of a fool will hurt others, like a thorn bush brandished by a drunk, like a reckless archer shooting arrows at random. It is the impatient employer who hires just any fool who comes along. Someone's going to get hurt. Fools are famous for repeating their errors. Like dogs are known to return to their vomit. There's only one thing worse than a fool, and that's the smug, conceited man, always in love with his own opinions. Subheader: Don't be lazy. The lazy loafer says, I can't go out and look for a job. There may be a lion out there roaming wild in the streets. As a door is hinged to the wall, so the lazy man keeps turning over, hinged to his bed. There are some people so lazy, they won't even work to feed themselves. A self-righteous person is convinced he's smarter than 7 wise counselors who tell him the truth. It's better to grab a stray dog by its ears than to meddle in a quarrel that's none of your business. Subheader: Watch your words. The one who is caught lying to his friend, who says, I didn't mean it, I was only joking, can be compared to a madman randomly shooting off deadly weapons. It takes fuel to have a fire. A fire dies down when you run out of fuel. So quarrels disappear when the gossip ends. Add fuel to the fire and the blaze goes on. So add an argumentative man to the mix and you'll keep strife alive. Gossip is so delicious, and how we love to swallow it, for slander is easily absorbed into our innermost being. Smooth talk can hide a corrupt heart, just like a pretty glaze covers a cheap clay pot. Kind words can be a cover to conceal hatred of others, for hypocrisy loves to hide behind flattery. So don't be drawn in by the hypocrite, for his gracious speech is a charade, nothing but a masquerade covering his hatred and evil on parade. Don't worry, he can't keep the mask on for long. One day his hypocrisy will be exposed before all the world. Go ahead, set a trap for others, and then watch as it snaps back on you. Start a landslide, and you'll be the one who gets crushed. Hatred is the root of slander, and insecurity the root of flattery. Proverbs 26, Amplified Translation. Subheader: Similitudes and instructions. Like snow in summer and like rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a short-sighted fool. Like the sparrow in her wandering, like the swallow in her flying, so the curse without a cause does not come and alight on the undeserving. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the backs of fools who refuse to learn. Do not answer nor pretend to agree with the frivolous comments of a close-minded fool according to his folly. Otherwise, you, even you, will be like him. Answer and correct the erroneous concepts of a fool according to his folly. Otherwise, he will be wise in his own eyes if he thinks you agree with him. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet, sabotages himself, and drinks the violence it brings on himself as a consequence. Like the legs which are useless to the lame, so is a proverb in the mouth of a fool who cannot learn from its wisdom. Like one who absurdly binds a stone in a sling, making it impossible to throw, so is he who absurdly gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes, without being felt, into the hand of a drunken man, so is a proverb in the mouth of a fool, who remains unaffected by its wisdom. Like a careless archer, who shoots arrows wildly and wounds everyone, so is he who hires a fool of those who by chance just passed by. Like a dog that returns to his vomit, is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Do you see a man who is unteachable and wise in his own eyes and full of self-conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The lazy person who is self-indulgent and relies on lame excuses says, "There is a lion on the road." A lion is in the open square, and if I go outside to work, I will be killed. As the door turns on its hinges, so does the lazy person on his bed, never getting out of it. The lazy person buries his hand in the dish, losing opportunity after opportunity. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy person is wiser in his own eyes than 7 sensible men who can give a discreet answer. Like one who grabs a dog by the ears and is likely to be bitten, is he who, passing by, stops to meddle with a dispute that is none of his business. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor, acquaintance, friend, and then says, "Was I not joking?" For lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer who gossips, contention quiets down. Like charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a whisperer, a gossip, are like dainty morsels to be greedily eaten. They go down into the innermost chambers of the body to be remembered and mused upon. Like a common clay vessel covered with the silver dross, making it appear silver when it has no real value, are burning lips, murmuring manipulative words, and a wicked heart. He who hates disguises it with his lips, but he stores up deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously and kindly, to conceal his malice, do not trust him, for 7 abominations are in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with guile and deceit, his malevolence will be revealed openly before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit for another man's feet will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone up a hill to do mischief, it will come back on him. A lying tongue hates those it wounds and crushes, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Proverbs 26, New Living Translation. Honor is no more associated with fools than snow with summer or rain with harvest. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse will not land on its intended victim. Guide a horse with a whip, a donkey with a bridle, and a fool with a rod to his back. Don't answer the foolish arguments of fools, or you will become as foolish as they are. Be sure to answer the foolish argument of fools, or they will become wise in their own estimation. Trust in a fool to convey a message, is like cutting off one's feet or drinking poison. A proverb in the mouth of a fool is as useless as a paralyzed leg. Honoring a fool is as foolish as tying a stone to a slingshot. A proverb in the mouth of a fool is like a thorny branch brandished by a drunk. An employer who hires a fool or a bystander is like an archer who shoots at random. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his foolishness. There is more hope for fools than for people who think they are wise. The lazy person claims, "There's a lion on the road." Yes, I'm sure there's a lion out there. As a door swings back and forth on its hinges, so the lazy person turns over in bed. Lazy people take food in their hand, but don't even lift it to their mouth. Lazy people consider themselves smarter than 7 wise counselors. Interfering in someone else's argument is as foolish as yanking a dog's ears. Just as damaging as a madman shooting a deadly weapon is someone who lies to a friend and then says, "I was only joking." Fire goes out without wood, and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. A quarrelsome person starts fights as easily as hot embers light charcoal or fire lights wood. Rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart. Smooth words may hide a wicked heart, just as a pretty glaze covers a clay pot. People may cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. They pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. While their hatred may be concealed by trickery, their wrongdoing will be exposed in public. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. A lying tongue hates its victims, and flattering words cause ruin.